On this example, we're trying to sketch the graph minus 3 cosine pi over 4x plus 2. So that's minus 3 cosine of pi over 4x plus 2. Okay, so let's go through the instructions. So here's the notes about graphing sine or cosine from the equation. And so first thing we need to do is rewrite the equation. Well, we don't need that on this one. We just compare to the general form. Find A, B, C, and D. So let's do that. Comparing this to general form, I'll bring it down here. Y equals minus 3 cosine pi over 4x. X plus 2, right? Yeah. Okay, so general form is y equals a cosine or sine bx plus c plus d. So let's rewrite this to fill in what's missing. A 0 there, right, because there's nothing in there, so it's the same as a 0. So we've got it. So our d is 2, our c is 0, our b is pi over 4, our a is negative 3. All right, so we've identified A, B, C, and D. Let's go back here. Now it says the midline is d equals negative 3. This is the middle of the cosine. Notice the arrow. Okay, so D's the middle. Let's do that. So D here, this is the middle of the graph, which is the 2. The 2 is the middle. Positive 2. In fact, why don't I just write that right up here. The positive 2 is the middle of the graph. So, I'm going to draw the line right there. There's the middle of our graph, positive 2. And then, next, it says, looking down at the instructions here, it next says, so find the middle. From the middle, the graph rises whatever A is and goes down whatever A is. So the A is the amplitude, and the graph rises and goes down from the middle, that amount. So let's go do that. So the A, our A, is negative 3. So this is the rise and the fall. So above and below by 3. So let's do that. So 3 up, that'd be up at 5. And 3 down, that'd be at negative 1, wouldn't it? Oops, a little off there. So there we go. So 3 above and 3 below. I'm getting that because of this minus 3 in the front. That's the amplitude. And notice it's negative. So this cosine graph is going to actually be upside down. Yeah, let's make note of that. Remember, there's few different graphs here. So we know a positive sine graph. There's always start in the middle, goes up first, then down, back to the middle. A negative sine graph goes down first, then up, then back to the middle. A positive cosine graph, they start high, go low in the middle, back high. A negative cosine graph starts low, goes high in the middle, back low. And so this is our case right here. We have a negative cosine graph, right? So you see the positive or negative numbers in the front, they tell you whether the graph goes up or down first. So, right, don't they tell you the beginning of the graph? So for a negative cosine graph, it starts low, then goes high, then comes back low. Remember, sine always starts in the middle and ends in the middle for one cycle. But cosine either starts high or starts low. And so ours is going to start low. So let's make note of that. So this means starts low wherever it does start. Now we don't know where it starts yet. We'll get to that. Let's go on. Back to the instructions. So from the middle, get that. So now the period, 2 pi over b. 2 pi over b. So the period, 2 pi over b, so that's 2 pi over, and b, of course, is pi over 4. So you know how to divide by a fraction. You grab the fraction on the bottom, flip it up, and multiply by the upside down, because dividing is upside down multiplying. Put this over 1, cross cancel, it's 8. The period is 8. So the width of one cycle, which is what the period is, it's how wide one cycle is 8. So that means 8 will be the width of each cycle. It's going to keep repeating that, and each of these will be 8. Right? Every cycle is 8. The period is 8. Good. Okay, so we've got the width of a cycle. Putting all the pieces together here, almost ready. Next, the horizontal shift. The horizontal shift. So that's negative c over b. So let's go back and find that. Horizontal shift, negative c over b. What's c? 0 over b, which is pi over 4. So that's just 0. 0 in the top fraction is just 0. So that means no horizontal shift. The graph starts at x equals 0. Well, it starts right at x equals 0. So now we can pretty much do it, I think. So the graph starts at x equals 0. Remember, it starts low at negative, well, because of the negative 3, it starts low. So that'd be right here. Right, at x, this is x equals 0. And remember, this is the top, and this is the bottom of the graph. And our graph starts low. You might think, yeah, but what about negative 3? Well, that's minus 3 from its middle. Here's the middle, that's down 3. That's what that means. Down 3 from the middle. The middle of this graph, remember, the middle is plus 2. So the graph starts there. Its period is 8. So the graph goes low, high, low in a period of 8. So by 8, it's right here. Halfway through at 4, it's right there. So the graph, and then partway through that, it'll be at the middle at 2 and at 6. So here we have the idea. It's like this. Let's see if I can keep drawing this. I'm not the best artiste there, but there we generally go. So that's a cosine that starts low, goes high in the middle, comes back low. The period is 8. There's no horizontal shift, so it starts right in the middle at 0. The middle of the graph is 2. Top, it goes 3 above that, right? It goes up 3 above that. 3 below that, because that's the amplitude. There we go. And then it just repeats that, of course, forever to the right, forever to the left. We're just getting a picture of one cycle. When you got a picture of one cycle, you've got the whole graph. So when you use the tools, you can use either one of those two tools on the graphing program to graph this. Just make sure you line up this point and this point, and everything else is good. And maybe this point, it's all good. There we go.